I was in college in 1990. I decided to go to Alaska to work. And while I was there, it was my first day on the job, I was cleaning a conveyor belt that got turned on while I was cleaning it. And my arm was stuck in the roller part at the very end of the conveyor belt. And nobody knew how to turn off the machine, and so it just kept pulling until it broke my arm and then pulled my arm off. So unfortunately, right there, the first day on the job, first 40 minutes, I lost my arm, and I was 20 years old.
Kina and I went to Eastern Washington University together, and we met when I was a freshman and she was a sophomore.
Lisa's my best friend from college, and she was up in Alaska with me, and we really were super excited because we were going to make enough money to pay for school the next year.
We went with another girlfriend as well, but she got separated at a different plant once we arrived. But we had like 4 days there that we just got to know kind of the area and got to know the people, and they weren't quite ready for us to start.
And we just had a fun time exploring and hiking and walking along the beach, and it was nice to have her there.
I was disappointed the first day because she got to work and I didn't, and we went there like with the experience of doing it together. And so I was disappointed that I couldn't work the first day, so I was in bed in the little cabins that we were in. And like an hour into her shift, I found out that she broke her arm, and they called me to the office and told me that she broke her arm, and so that was like shocking, and they told me she wasn't coming back, and I asked if I could call my parents, which I did, and at that point, I don't remember saying that, but my parents told me that I said that I was going to stay, and that I was going to stay at and work out the summer, even though Kina wasn't going to be coming back. But then the crew got let go, and 2 girls that we became friends with came back and told me what had happened because they witnessed it.
Oh, it was a terrible day. I received a phone call, and I was told that she lost her arm.
I was in shock. Like I just didn't know what to do and how to process even what I was hearing had happened, and I just wanted to get to her. So they told me that they wouldn't fly me home, and my dad told them that they would, and I flew out an hour later. And my parents met Kina at Harborview, and I was there the next day. Yeah, I just knew the first day that I saw her in the hospital that she was gonna react to this differently than anyone else would have. And her strength and her courage and her message was from that day one.
There are definitely a lot of life lessons to be learned from something like this, and I think that holds true for really anything that's difficult. Difficult times seem to make people really learn more about themselves and what they can do, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, is to really focus on what I can do rather than focusing on what I cannot do. And also focusing on what I have rather than what I don't have. And my grandma, she came to see me in the hospital once, and she had said to me, after I was having a really bad attitude, she said the Henry Ford quote, which is, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And that made a big difference to me, because it was kind of that moment that I decided, wow, it's really true that the choices I make are my own. And regardless of whether I've lost my arm or not, the fact is, it is what it is. I can't change it. And to be angry about it or bitter about it isn't going to make it better. So learning that choices are my own and my attitude is my own, it's empowering.
Everyone said there was all of these things she could not do, and I think they should watch this video and see what, they were definitely wrong. And if I'm ever told I can't do something at school or anywhere, it makes me want to do it more, because all I can think about is my mom. There was no way people thought that she'd be water skiing after that accident, or she could wakeboard, or she could even drive, or have 4 kids and change diapers and do it as well as she has done it. She's done it better than most people's parents.
We watched her get her black belt in karate less than a year after her accident. And she has a double black belt now. I mean, she wakeboards, she water skis, she runs marathons. she does anything.
I like watching her run marathons.
And what does that make you feel?
Happy.
It makes you feel happy when you see her run marathons? And why does that make you feel happy?
Because I know she can do it.
That's right.
I'm not special in any way. I'm not unique. I mean, we all have things that we go through. We all have tragedies we have to live through. Every single one of us has that. And what I know, though, is we have a choice. We have a choice to be bitter about it, be angry about it, or really to let it make us better. And what I've chosen to do is let it make me better.
Kina is the most amazing woman, mother, friend I've ever known and could ever ask to have in my life. She's just truly amazing.
I think of a superhero because she's the closest thing you can get to in this world. I mean, she really is. She can do anything.
This is the reason I do what I do, because I don't want anybody else to have something like this happen to them. You know, it's really important to me to show people that it really happens to everybody. It's not something that is just this type of person it's going to happen to, or just this type of person. If you're taking shortcuts, or you're being complacent, or you're not paying attention to what you're doing, more than likely you're going to be injured. It might not be today, it might not be 10 years from now, but eventually those risks that you're taking are going to catch up to you. And I just feel so passionate about wanting people to understand that this is about you making choices and making decisions to keep yourself safe. So you don't have a family member getting a phone call that says you've been injured, or worse, that you've died because of a job. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Not too long ago, I was skateboarding with my son Connor. He's 9, and it was really a lot of fun. We're out there skateboarding, and great time until my skateboard hit a little tiny rock. So my skateboard stopped, and I kept going. Now, what I've learned since only having one arm is not to put my arm out like this, which is good. I like tuck and roll, but this time what I did was I kind of just tucked and slid right across the cement. It's great. Walk into the house, and I see my husband there, and he looks at me, and he just shakes his head, and he just said, "Really? Do you not know you only have one arm?" And then he's like, "You know what? You know what's going to happen? If you break that arm, that one and only arm you have, if you break it, I'm leaving." He's like, "I'm not wiping that." So I'm like, "Really?" I got a bunch of attitude with him, and I was like, "Well, I don't care. You go ahead and go. Because the kids will take care of me, so you just go." And all the kids are like, Mom, we're going with him. Why I started speaking is I thought, wow, you know, really, we could let the mistakes of others be our teacher. You know, so let my mistakes be your teacher. Let the mistakes and failures of people around you be your teacher, because that is how we've gotten better at what we do. We learn from mistakes. Now, the bottom line is this: regardless of your safety program, doesn't matter what it is, it boils down to us. When we make those minute-to-minute and those second-to-second decisions that dictate our personal safety. You are your own last line of defense in safety. It boils down to you and the choices you make. It's a really personal choice. It has to be personal to you. It has to mean something to you. Safety is very personal to me, because losing my arm was very personal. You know, it's something I have to deal with every day. To me, it's very ugly. It is painful every single day. And the worst part about it is that it was 100% preventable. This didn't have to happen. Well, then I passed out. I woke up about 20 minutes later. That's what they told me. I was out for about 20 minutes. And I was still stuck in the machine, but the machine was off. And the first thing I asked them was, did I lose my arm? I was still on my knees and my head was down, and I thought it was odd because it felt like my left arm was laying across my stomach, but I could see it wasn't there. I found out later that in fact I had lost my arm. They didn't want to tell me that because I was in shock so bad. And what had happened is my arm was crushed when it went through the roller. It broke right at my shoulder, and that machine kept pulling until it literally tore it off. It also broke my collarbone. It was right up by my ear. It tore off my shoulder blade. I had a collapsed lung. My head was pulled up against the conveyor belt, so I had a big bald spot on the back of my head because it scalped me. I had a severe neck injury, and I was losing a lot of blood. So really, I was in trouble. And it's I think, very ugly. This is what I traded my arm for. This, and of course, $10 an hour. You know, this is what I traded my safety for that day. And I kept this arm, one, because, well, the kids think it's pretty darn cool. You know, in Halloween, it's really easy to be Captain Hook. Just saying. So I use it. But I also kept this arm because it's a good reminder to me of the day that I almost died. But it's also a good reminder to me of the day that I survived. You know, I've learned so much from all of this. There was a lot of time that I spent wishing things. I wished that I had never gone to Alaska. I wished that I would have never lost my arm. I remember thinking, gosh, I wish that I would have just cleaned the top of the belt before the bottom, because then maybe somebody would have seen me and they wouldn't have turned it on. And then I realized one day that until I saw this for exactly what it was, instead of for what I wished it could be, I wasn't ever going to grow or heal or move forward. Thank you guys so much. It's been great.